when they say troublemakers for the long haul, I thought, oh, it sounded at first to me like, oh, geez, he's been in it so long. How can he say, persevere? But for the long haul, it has to be a lot of fun. You got to have fun doing what you're doing. And the music's part of it. The skits are part of it. The people that are around you are part of it. And rank and file workers are not in it for the long haul if it's not fun. It has to be practical, has to have a chance of winning, but it has to be fun as well. So don't let that slip out of whatever you're doing. It has to be fun. So how do we succeed after all these 20 years or whatever it's been? It's not a one-person show. It's many people involved over the years. It's taken the struggles that are important to the people at work. A lot of people, what your issue is may not be the issue for the person next to you. And the issues of what to take up or how to take them up, at least the way the new leadership slate did it, was what's going to get the most people in motion. What's going to get the most people active. Because the power, the lesson of labor notes, the lesson of everybody out there, the power comes from the people, comes from the workers. And the only way for us to get workers active is to be doing things and coming forward with ideas around issues that they think are important. One of the first things, if you'll indulge me, but I love this story because it was one of the first things I was involved in. I was a new steward at the University of Chicago hospitals as a housekeeper, and for years it was in-house housekeeping, and they hired an outside management team. It was Marriott's, the hotel people, and this was a while back, so they went through Sodexo. Yeah, some people know about these guys. But they just, it was like crack the whip, right? They were going to do it, they wouldn't, and they didn't want to recognize the union. I mean, they didn't say we won't recognize the union. They just stopped hearing grievances, and I was the new radical union steward, and they were going to just try to ignore us and say, oh, he'll go away, or people will think he's ineffective. And so we started talking, what are we going to do about this? I was on the second shift, which was good because there wasn't as many of the big bosses around. And so we just started having meetings and saying, hey, what can we do? And we came up with a campaign. We did like a memo, like they do. It said, I worked at the University of Chicago Hospital, so it said 2 University of Chicago hospitals, real big, like, Japan bombs Pearl Harbor kind of headlines. And, from your workers, and it's an RE, fire Marriott's, and we had like several bullet points. And, this is no longer true, probably because of this action, but we used to have keys to every single office because we had to clean them all, right? And so, yeah, you see where this is going, right? So the next morning, we had many thousands of flyers, every single desk. The president, the unit clerk, everybody had this flyer on their desk, and every worker, and they didn't see it coming at all, had a button that said Marriott's with the circle slash through it. And so the guy who had refused to meet with me for weeks and weeks about any of these grievances, I came to work, they had like an army of people waiting for me at the time clock when I punched in. And they said, oh, we want to, the boss wants to see you right now. And they fired, it was the first time I was fired. But the bottom line is we won. I don't want to spend all my time on this one story. It's a good story. Over a beer sometime we'll do it. But I got the job back because the work, we all stood together. Everybody wore the buttons. Nobody would take them off. After they fired me, they continued wearing these buttons. They suspended everybody. We won labor management meetings. We won all the grievances that were outstanding were heard. We won most of them because they knew that they had to make a change. They couldn't just continue this crack the whip, we're Marriott's, we'll do whatever we want kind of style. And even though I was interested in all kinds of issues, national health care, all kinds of important issues that I'm still interested in and I still fight around, that was the issue that we had to take up at that time to get those workers in motion. And that's what that kind of thing over and over again, at one shop after the other, carried us forward. So doing those kind of activities that are most important to the workers carries you forward. But the other side of it is, on the national health care or whatever, you need to have a vision. The reason we're all here is because it's not just getting better overtime. It's not just getting a penny here or there. We have a vision of justice for working people throughout our country, throughout the world. And we see the importance of solidarity And that sustains you as well. It's like the victories get people in motion, but then you need to come to a broader vision. And labor notes, Teamsters for a Democratic Union, all these these are the kinds of things that we need to look at, to have a vision beyond just getting better overtime. We need to have good health insurance for everybody in this country. And it might start by fighting for better overtime. So we were involved in many battles. We got involved in the Teamsters National Union by going to the Teamsters for Democratic Union conventions. We met people from all over the United States. Some of them healthcare workers, more of them truck drivers and UPS workers. But we learned about their struggles. We learned about how our union operated. I didn't even know what a joint council was when I joined the Teamsters. And now I'm going to joint council meetings. I'm a delegate to them. But it's to know how the structure of your union works and how to make it work for you, where to fight for democracy, where to fight for workers' power, and to try to make your union work most effectively for you. So it's a combination of doing what's important to the workers, but also having a vision beyond that.